Brilliant. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Planning and Licensing on what's now turned into a cloudy evening on the 29th of April this year. Welcome. To starting off then, oh, hang on, wrong button. It's good, not a good start, isn't it? So apologies. I know we've got apologies from Councillor Williamson, and I think that's the only person that's missing. So. Interests, if they're declared as and when. I don't think we've got any meeting management issues. We have members of the public in the gallery.
We do have an agenda item for management meeting issues.
Okay.
But if you want to vote to bring forward public question time, but we actually have got something to discuss about meeting management, and that's the draft civic calendar.
Oh, okay, it goes there. Oh, right. Okay, so
that's
there.
where I put it. I couldn't see anywhere else, so I thought that was best. So we might need a proposal just to bring public questions forward.
I propose bringing public questions forward.
Okay, you do that. Does somebody second it? Yeah, seconded by Councillor North. All those in favour? Right, okay, so effectively, are we bringing open session for electors forward, aren't we? Number 6.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we have in our audience people representing application 3, which is PA 26/02047, coming down to talk about their application this evening. So you have a short time, and then we can ask questions, and then we will vote on then discussing it with when you can't then talk. We can't discuss it anymore. Right, brilliant, thank you. Do you want to say who your name and?
Yeah, of course, thank you. My name's Chloe Pitt. I'm from Collaborative Planning and Planning Agent for the application. So I'm here this evening with the applicants to present the proposal for the replacement dwelling at 13 Beachview Close. By way of context, members may be aware that this site has a long and challenging planning history. Previous proposals sought to extend the existing dwelling, which were ultimately refused and dismissed at appeal due to concerns around scale, visual impact, and harm to important coastal views. What is before you this evening is fundamentally different. Rather than continuing with an extension-led approach, the applicants have taken a step back and rethought the scheme entirely, bringing forward a proposal for a replacement dwelling, a principle which has already been confirmed acceptable through a pre-application with Cornwall Council. It is also important to understand the current condition of the property. The existing dwelling is barely habitable. It is of a simple single-storey construction, meaning it is cold and damp and poorly performing in modern living standards. The proposal represents a genuine opportunity to significantly improve the quality of accommodation for the applicants and to deliver a home fit for purpose. In terms of the design, the scheme has carefully been developed in direct response to all previous concerns raised. In particular, the building has been reconfigured into a part single-storey and part two-storey form, breaking down its mass. A stepped roof profile reduces visual impact and perceived bulk. The proposal has been specifically designed to retain and protect the important, long-standing, distant coastal views identified previously. The new dwelling will now be read in the context of the adjoining flats, aligning more closely with the established build line and surrounding built form. The last key point is that the proposal does not sit in isolation, but instead responds directly to the scale and form of the neighbouring development, ensuring it integrates far more successfully into the street scene than any previous scheme. Overall, the proposal is considered to address all previous reasons for refusal, preserves the important views, improves the relationship with the surrounding development, and delivers a high-quality, energy-efficient home in place of a substandard building. The applicants have engaged with all the neighbouring residents, none of whom have raised any issue with this application. We would therefore respectfully ask that the Town Council can do the same and support this application. Thank you.
Thank you. Has anyone got any questions for? I think Sandy got in there first, John.
My main concern with this site is how are you going to get access for the building work?
So there's no on-site parking proposed, as in on-plot parking. The construction would need to be looked at if we were looking at an approval, and that could be conditioned if that was a concern for yourself.
Well, the main concern is, as you can see, it's a block of residents, right?
Yeah.
How are you going to get your building material? If it goes down that block of residents, that's going to go on their back windows and going to disturb their privacy.
Yeah, I mean, that I wouldn't really be able to comment on the specifics, only because we're just not at that point at the moment, and I'm the planning agent for the application, as opposed to the applicant knowing the way in which it would work when construction takes place. But there is parking behind, isn't there, behind those flats?
There's parking at the side,
Yeah.
but to get down to where you're going to be doing the development, you've got to go down the back of the flats.
Yeah.
And to go down the back of the flats is a grassless recreation area which some residents use to exercise their dogs, sit in the sun, and there is people there who've got mental issues,
Right.
and who aren't going to be very happy with lorries going up and down and things like this, and it's going to disturb the grass area.
We can certainly look into it and come back to you with a response. I just wouldn't want to give you factually incorrect information as it stands.
I would like that being addressed. Thank you.
I think Joanna's before you then, Margaret. Yeah.
Right, so I'm just reading the system design document, and the access to the property is going to be the same access, so that's going to come off, what's that circular road called? It's not going to come off Porthbean Road. No. The access, Cross Close. It's coming off Cross Close, and then...
The access is as it stands at the moment, so there's no vehicular access.
So the access will be off Cross Close. There's a general parking area there, is there? Are you not providing any parking spaces?
There isn't any at the moment.
So
I think
for
that would be more
the
disturbance.
little prefab or whatever it is, there are no parking spaces, so you're not providing any spaces.
It's on-street parking. Yeah, it was an issue that was raised in the previous applications, and therefore it's been removed because we feel that it will impact the character too much. So that's why we've stuck with just retaining that plot.
So you're looking to have on-street parking for the solution. Yeah. There's not a lot of it in Cross Close. No. One of our problems with it before was the building was very large, and it was right in the eye as you came to the crossroad of Lawarne Road and Porthbean Road. Do I understand that basically what you've done is you've stepped it down so that the building is bigger near the original block, and then it steps down to Porthbean Road, so it doesn't hit you quite so much?
Yeah, I mean, visually it does look like an extension to the flat block, which we've had a pre-application discussion with the council because the applicants have been through, a lot with the previous schemes and extension. There was a covenant on the land by Ocean that basically said that they couldn't initially do a new build, which obviously restricted them in terms of looking at an extension option. But I think Ocean then recognised that the property as it stands, and I've been in it, it's single story, it's very cold, it's damp, it's really not a nice situation, and therefore they've said, actually, based on the plans that you provided, we've removed that restriction and we will agree to a replacement dwelling. So that's why we've tried to create it looking like an extension to that existing block. So
effectively, although there is a gap between the existing block and your higher bit of building, effectively that's just the effect of being, and then the bit that's nearer the road, which is the bit that we woke up, is
single story. So you've got that view, which was one of the key things that the inspector had issue with, as well as yourselves and the Cornwall Council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So mine was again about parking, because this is actually a new build. You're not, it's replacing something. So, we normally look for parking because you can't rely on off-street parking. I mean, I noticed on the road there was double yellow lines. So is there any way that parking can be
Yeah, I mean, we did consider it, and then we felt that it was more appropriate to not include it because it's a replacement dwelling as opposed to introducing a new house on the plot, because, you know, there's residents there, the applicants who live there at the moment. So we can consider that, but on balance, we thought that it would be better to just exclude it, given the character impacts that were raised before.
It's for me, Newquay, it's, you know, so difficult, parking's a real issue. And if there is a way, that's what I'd be looking at. You know, you need parking. You can't say you've got off-street parking. This house will probably have 2 cars in the future. It could have 3. You know, we don't know, do we? And actually 3 cars is a lot of space. And that obviously there are parking issues all over this town, as we all know, so.
Can I just, so, oh, Duncan, could you put that back again, please? You're sort of, that last one with the site. So last time we were here, I thought that this area here was going to be car park and it had access into the lane, because I'm sure we sort of raised concerns, didn't we, about it was quite a narrow access. So do I assume then the only access to this property is going to be up these steps which you're putting in here?
Pedestrian access.
Yeah,
Yeah.
through steps as well.
Is there steps?
It's a slight slope at the moment. At the moment, the access is just at the edge of there from where you're showing there. So we have pedestrian access off of...
Duncan, you just move.
and we've bought the extra piece of land behind the house now.
So you've got access in here?
Yeah.
And that's just pedestrian access?
Just pedestrian access there. And since we spoke to you, we've bought the land that abuts that as well. So
this side?
No, the other side there.
This side here?
And I was told when we were very first looking, when I was speaking to some, we were looking at prefab companies, and I kind of was asking loosely the questions of how we would work on the site and things like that when you asked, because we didn't want to impact the neighbours. And they said because we own that bit back close to the road, they can crane it onto that portion of land now as well.
Right.
But the only reason we removed the parking was because what was said when we came here last time, because nobody liked that we were touching the stone walls, and it was told that because there's so much on-street parking, that should have been sufficient. We weren't allowed the parking last time. So because it was narrow and hot.
So I know that's why we said with Newquay Town Council in us, we're consultants. We don't make those final decisions. Was that a final decision in Cornwall Council or your appeal about the car parking?
It was more to do with the massive
Yeah.
It was to do with the massive
Yeah,
impact.
car parking wasn't, because it was a householder application, so it's just
Yeah.
not a material consideration for that type of application.
Right, so I get that can be craned over the hedge, and so with the building materials and that, and then be moved in. So that is in. So I mean yeah. Okay, Joanna, go on.
Can I ask Duncan to put up page 3 of the system design document, the lower photograph, because it actually gives you quite a good picture of what it's page 3, and the 2 if you go to the one below, right, and expand that one. It's the last page.
That's right.
Yeah, that's it. You can make it bigger.
Yeah, I should.
That would actually explain, I think, answer your point, because
Yeah, they've got that
the
land in
existing
there.
building is the 2 buildings, and then they're going to put a block on the end of it.
Yeah.
Units down the
Yeah.
back of the flat.
So they're going to have a big garden. Because I think with the previous application, the access was actually going to be at the top of the road up here, wasn't it? Yeah. As opposed to, I think that's different. If this was widened here, then in terms of providing it with that would have been more acceptable, and that wasn't made an issue by Cornwall Council and the appeal in terms of, I know it's not ideal, but I think, I mean, there's huge pressure on car parking on the surrounding roads. They're parking on the grass and everywhere, which is producing a huge amount of issues for local residents. Yeah, okay, so that's something, yeah, do you want to, yeah.
Well, What interests me is that what the building has, just down to the bottom of it, there's a sort of communal parking area. And you're saying they don't give you a parking place because half of them don't park. I mean, if you look at the picture, there's only, I mean, it's...
Technically, we bought the house off Ocean, that is Ocean's parking.
And they won't let you park on it.
So we never parked on it.
That's a bit mean.
That's the residents' parking.
Actually, saying about Joanna's thing, I go down there quite often. I've got a regular down there. That parking area is big enough for about 4 cars, so it's really not that big.
I mean, if you want parking, we wanted it, so we'd be happy to introduce.
Yeah, I think it's in terms of.
There are a lot of problems with people fly tipping all that area in front of the house.
Yeah.
Where that path goes to nowhere, there's often.
So I mean, so it's this little L-shaped pathway here, isn't it? Which goes to it, which.
Sarah, can we talk about this when we do?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah. Has anyone got any more questions for Duncan? Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
in terms of understanding the application, the nationally described space standard, 3-bedroom, 2-storey. What is the floor space? I couldn't quite. It's probably my fault. It's probably my fault. I couldn't quite ascertain what the internal floor space was, and if it meets the standard.
It definitely meets it, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I need to email you separately just to confirm that.
Right.
It's
We
all
would
on our
probably,
seal form.
in our response, we would probably ask the case officer
Yeah, sure.
for confirmation or reassurance that it does. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
No worries.
Okay, so if nobody's got any more questions, then thank you ever so much. Thank you. So I'm proposed then that we move this up to the agenda. All those in favour of moving it up? Brilliant, thank you. So we're going to discuss this now. So we might, if you nod or think, but you can't comment, I'm afraid. Okay, can't answer any questions. Brilliant, thank you. Okay, brilliant, thank you. So this is application 3, PA 26/02047, 13 Beachview Close, proposed replacement dwelling. Duncan.
Familiarised ourselves with the location, and we have seen this site a couple of times. I believe that you've had a reasonable understanding delivered to you of the background, so I shan't dwell upon that. So we will just bring up the location and block plan as well, just to confirm the application site. Okay.
Sorry, Duncan, before.
Not Duncan's fault.
I wonder if that's a hangover, because this has got a 2026 date on it. I wonder if that's a hangover, a mistake where it's been included from the previous application, possibly.
Yeah.
We will.
So, yeah, it's just that that's going to bear, you know, in terms of comments that we're going to make.
Well, so yeah, it's certainly something that we'd need to raise. Okay. I don't think we've got the same problems with the site plans. Okay, I'm just going to take a moment. Oh, are you okay? Yeah, just make sure nobody's fallen down the stairs. Right. Yeah, we have an existing site plan. I'm not going to dwell upon this. It's quite a busy drawing, and we've already got a sort of some understanding of what is on the site already. So the proposed site plan. I'm just going to make this a little bit larger. There's a number of items, elements that are marked on this, including a rainwater soakaway, storm drainage. We have a resin bonded path that goes sort of around 3 sides of the building. We have some proposed planting. I don't think that requires the loss of the stone wall at all. And then we have the proposed dwelling itself. So you've got this footprint here that's made up of a single-storey element which has a green roof to it, grass roof, and then the 2-storey element, which is the part that's got the photovoltaic panels on it. And I think there's also an air source heat pump marked on the site as well. I'm not going to dwell on the existing elevations. Again, we've seen them all, and it's going to. I think we can all accept that it's something of an inadequate form of housing, and would possibly benefit from being demolished, if I'm honest. So let's have a look at these proposed elevations. We'll start off with the east and west elevations. I think I can just make that slightly larger, get them both on the screen, just about. Okay, so the east elevation is what you would see from Porthbean Road. So this is the existing and still Ocean housing building. It might help if we flip to the street view again. So that's what you can see on the extreme left of this diagram. And then, as has been explained, the 2-storey element, unlike the previous design, would be abutting the 2-storey building next to it. It might be worth quickly, just as a quick reminder, to show the key difference really with this and the previous application, because we were given these rather useful comparison images, and you can see it was a flat roof building rather than the pitch roof that is planned here, and that was a comment that I think was made by both the inspector and the case officer, that the flat roof would be quite incongruous. But you can also see that the 2-storey element sits away from the 2-storey building. And as we can see on these elevations, it has effectively that has been reversed, so that the 2-storey element is next to the 2-storey building. And then obviously there's a view there that would not be blocked by a 2-storey building.
Sorry, Duncan. Is the
site plan, it wraps around. So this is the footprint of the single-storey element, okay, and then that is the 2-storey element. Obviously, quite a lot of that wouldn't be visible from the road anyway. Okay. Where were we? We were gonna. So that's as seen from Porthbean Road, and this is the elevation. Obviously, it's flattened. The drawing's flattened it out, so you can't quite appreciate the mass coming forward from the 2-storey element. But that's the elevation that is effectively pointed out across those very nice views out across Porth. The north elevation. Again, I'll make that slightly bigger. North elevation at the top there. This is the elevation we would see if we were looking sort of side on from Porthbean Road. Again, I will make use of Google Street View here. So that is effectively, it's this view here. And let me go back to that. So that's that view. So the eagle-eyed amongst you, I don't know if you can see, can just about make out the pitch of the roof of the building behind. So really, it almost matches what's sitting behind it, okay? And then... we'll look at the floor plan in a minute. Yeah, we'll confirm that when we look at the floor plan in a moment. Yeah, and then this is the side effectively that abuts the ocean housing. There is an adequate amount of distance between the two that would allow for maintenance of both sides of the building. I know that has been a concern in the past with some of these. We'll look at the floor plans now. Quite straightforward. If we can find them, there we go. I'm just going to make those slightly larger again. So my notes say that the layout, it follows a similar principle to that described in previous applications. It's what we sometimes inexpertly refer to as an upside down house, main habitable rooms on the first floor, and most of the sleeping accommodation on the ground floor. The ground floor has 3 double bedrooms, utility room, bathroom, study office, dressing room and storage. The first floor, as you'll see, is an open plan living area. So you've got your living room, your kitchen, etc. I don't, in answer to your question, Sarah, I don't believe that is a door. I believe that is a window. And I know that you've previously had concerns about the disruption or harm that will be caused to neighbouring properties when people can access the top of a single story, but that isn't the case in this in this instance. That's your application. If you want to look at anything else, please say. But these are the drawings really that we'll focus on. Okay.
Have we actually got a 3D version of what it would look like when it's finished?
No. I would have if we'd had one, I would have used that.
Can I just ask, for the single-storey portion of the property, is it any different in height than the current existing building?
I do not know. No pressure. I do. I am not certain, and it's partly because I don't think that we've got an elevation that shows the outline of the previous. I mean, I could look along and say, and I could ask into the ether and say, is it taller or isn't it? And the spirits are saying that it might not be, but we would perhaps ask the case officer just to confirm that. Okay, but I think that's a good question. So, I mean, effectively, if we just go back up here. Yeah. You can effectively then you'd be looking at this sort of line but moved over here perhaps. Another important point I think which I should have touched upon is that the existing building is it's forward, so the existing building kind of sits here, so it's this the rear building line now matches the rear building line of the ocean housing. Sorry, I should have mentioned that earlier.
Yes, Maura, go
on. Assuming that a car parking space is allowed and you've got an entrance, does that solve your anxiety, Sandy, about impacting of the people in the flats? Because the construction traffic, I presume, could go through that entrance.
I think Ocean have sold that property, isn't it? So, and it's going to be developed. So I think for the noise from that, there could be we could request in that is it a building construction plan?
I think that we should. we should ask a question about
Yeah.
construction management plan.
Yeah,
because-
this could be a construction
because
management, because that
access
has
is-
time constraints that people can be building on it.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, the material can be craned over the top, and obviously with the residents that are there. So I think we can put in that a building management plan can be put on, that they don't start at 7 o'clock in the morning and on a Sunday and stuff, yeah, as well. Yeah. Joanna?
Right, they are right. There's a lot of parking opportunities in the streets, and our policy doesn't mean that you have to have it off price. I'd actually not welcome breaking into Porthbean Road. I wouldn't want an entrance coming off Porthbean Road into that site. I think we need to keep the road as it is. I do not think, so I think, yeah, they will be fighting for parking spaces because, I mean, I wouldn't go and cross close at all, but there is parking spaces in Porthbean. There's parking places at the top of the Warren Road that will upset the residents there. But I think as far as the requirements to provide parking places, they are there in the street. I wouldn't want them breaking into the road. But I'm not desperately happy with the fact that they have to get access to their building. They've got to walk in front of the flats, or is it behind the flats? It's not. Access.
No, but I mean that is the problem with the site, isn't it? But no, there's going to be the footpath access coming off Porthbean Road, the steps. Here is the steps access, so they are going to be making a whole. Yes, they are going to. Yeah, you see, sort of like what I would have thought in that. I would have preferred that there was a ramp. You see, I'd prefer that there was, even then, the pedestrian access was brought up here, because I think. Yeah.
I'd just say it's not for us to redesign this.
No, it's not
isn't.
for us to know that.
But
I think
I'll just point out.
there is the pedestrian access there already. Yeah.
And I believe that that's the one that would be utilised.
As well. So both ways. So there's two accesses to the property. Okay.
And that's the one that obviously takes you in here. And
That's a lot better.
yeah. Okay.
So no, that's a different access. The access they're talking about is here. So, but then that access there is. So, well, Joe.
A couple of points about access and parking. I mean, I'm seeing there's a current status quo, isn't there? There's the parking situation at the moment won't change from the proposed to from the existing to the proposed, and the access won't change from the existing to proposed, apart from a bit through the alleyway between the two properties, but the road access is going to be the same for the proposed and existing.
I would come back on that. This is a proposed new dwelling, 3-bedroom dwelling, so there's going to be at least 2 adults. The fact that they didn't have car parking before doesn't mean that they shouldn't have it now. We have got a neighbourhood plan that talks about parking. So for me, the barrier would be that on our original statement that I can read here, there was actually 2 parking spaces. So that's what I would be looking for. And I know we say, you know, I'm not saying they're going to have a family, but families grow and you go from 2 cars to 3 cars to 4 cars, and that's only going to get worse. And it's all right saying, but if you look at the road, we've seen the street scene, double yellow lines all the way along. There's a restriction on one side with just 1 yellow line. And there is a slight drop curb there, but I think it's more to the path. So you've got double yellow lines all along there, double yellow lines. So it's not as though it's a free road that everybody can park on. And we don't know what day this was taken. This could be in the middle of the day. So there aren't people having come home from work, you know. So that would be my...
I'll let you in there. Yeah, I mean, it's huge issues because we know we've been to Treviglas School and pick up that they have a nightmare around their residents with Blue School and Treviglas and things. So, with the car parking and the access, I think it's going to be, yeah, it's not our place to decide on that one. Nick?
Obviously, as you know, I'm an night driver. I go along there at night. There are spaces towards where they live, so that wouldn't necessarily be an issue for me, purely because there are a few spaces that, granted, if they had 3 or 4 cars, there might be an issue, but you could probably get 1, maybe 2 in there.
But we're looking at the planning application as is at the moment, which doesn't have parking on, maybe that's something that they come in later with then for that one. Joe?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to resolve the issue that I was saying about status quo and your response. Actually, the reality is the midpoint between what I was saying and what you came back on. It isn't a new build; it's a replacement, right? But well, just let me finish, and then I will let you back in. So I'm arguing, well, actually, it's status quo, and I think quite rightly you're pointing out that's not the case, and so I'm moving, but I'm not moving to it's not like a field and then the house appears. There is a property there already. Okay, right. So I think the position I would probably move to is actually where it's halfway between what I first said and what Councillor North said.
Because it's not like for like, that's what I'm saying. It is a new building on a plot of land, but it's not like for like. This is now going to be a 3-bedroomed house, as opposed to, I'm not sure how many bedrooms there were before, but you know, the neighbourhood plan talks about parking, and we sort of run with that. You know, it is a new build, replacing an old, but actually, for me, the new.
I think so. I mean, we can note the parking situation as a concern, but I don't think it's enough to raise no objection on this at the moment. So, I mean, nobody's raised an issue about. Everyone's happy with the compromise then on the building and with the land. Or sort of Joanna's. Yeah, go on.
What I've got is a artist's impression of what it's going to look like. And that was our big concern. I think I mean, that was dreadful. That was dreadful. But I think it's going to be all right, because I think the top floor is actually quite small. It's just that open plan living room. So, and it's an extension of what's already there. So they were blocking in that bit, but they won't be blocking in the sea. I regret that they don't have an artist impression, because I'm not entirely sure what it's going to look like.
So I mean, just to make it come in there, so there'll be a gap there. It's going to be quite a wind tunnel, but the continuing on there from the same height and virtually sort of like wide, and then having a single story here. It still is preserving that view down there, which was the main concerns before.
Clever design with the line sort of running parallel with the road and then swinging around. I think that's not a bad. That's quite a clever design. I'm happy to propose no objection with all the sort of some concerns about parking and the effect on the environment. And I see what you mean when you can't tell how big the rooms are, because there's no measurements in there.
We would include that as a comment.
Yeah, just as a check.
Yeah,
just as a check if we could. Nick.
Second.
Right, okay. Yeah, and and it's going to be a green flat roof and things. Can we put in a note of that window doesn't suddenly become a door, because there's no balustrade on that flat roof in terms of people going out on the roof. Yeah, we don't want people going out on the roof. So and suddenly having a party there. So restriction on that, and like G2 thing for water measures. I know we've got, we've got soakaways and things that are on there and accessed and stuff, and
we'll encourage the case officer about a construction management plan.
Yeah,
you've all noted that it is quite tight. So
yeah. So seconders. So can we vote then, please, on no objection?
Can I just ask, there is something about parking on your list?
Yeah. We've noted that the parking.
We're raising a concern about parking.
Yeah. And that,
Sorry, I just need to know that.
We have noted it. Yeah.
That helps me. Please don't apologise.
So no objections? Okay. You're very welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting if you'd like. But I take this opportunity, because I need to swap over my very squeaky chair that I'm sitting in before we progress with the rest of the meeting. So lovely to see you. And I'd suggest that have a look at that, talk to the planning officer, have a look for maybe whether that parking, if that access, footpath access could be widened, and have a look for that. Yeah. Right, as I just said, I'm just going to swap my squeaky chair over. Brilliant, thank you everyone for that. Right, voting to go back to, I propose we go back to the agenda. Seconder, Sandy, seconded, all in favour? Yay, right, marvellous. So, meeting management issues then, Duncan.
Yeah, so I sent you all an email regarding the slight change to the calendar, which was agreed at GNR. I think it goes to as a recommendation to the town meeting on the 6th of May. But it was suggested. I think that we've got a. I think that this is this civic year in front of us. I think that we've got a meeting scheduled for the 23rd of December. Christmas is traditionally quite tricky, and I mean we've had problems as near as the 16th of December with becoming quorate. There was a suggestion that if we had a 3-week gap, so that we had a meeting on the 30th, and then went back to our 2-week cycle, that would achieve potentially 2 things, but it's up to you to decide if you think that the 30th of January would be a better date for you. 30th of December, sorry, thank you, Nick. The 30th of December would be a better date for you than the 23rd of December, and then the other point is that if we then picked up the 2-week cycle from the 30th onwards, we would be having our meetings on a Wednesday, because at the moment those meetings in I can't remember if it's January and February or February and March are going to clash with full council, and so you will be having at least 2 months worth of a Tuesday meeting here and then a Wednesday full council, Tuesday and then Wednesday for at least 2 months on the trot. So it's entirely up to you if you would like to look at that and perhaps go back with the recommendation that we just tweak the calendar slightly, or if you are happy to carry on with the calendar as it is, it's up to you. Would it help if I actually brought the civic calendar up? Yeah. Just you'll have to bear with me for just a moment.
We're the same group that's going for planning again, so it is, you know, we're opening it up to you guys really, so it's whether you think the 23rd or the 30th.
So we're talking about next December.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
December coming up.
This December coming up. Yeah.
It's not Christmas yet, is it?
No.
We're not going a year in front. Not yet.
This is when we gently wheel Joanna down the corridor. Oh dear.
Carry on. on as normal until December, and then you're suggesting bumping. I have to say personally, I probably will not be here on the 23rd, but I probably can make the 30th.
I can't do either.
Yeah, you can't do either.
I can't do either, it doesn't matter, so.
So sound is, oh, sorry, you're easy. Right, look.
I could do either.
Yeah.
Joanna, can you turn your microphone on?
Oh, sorry.
Lorna, what are your thoughts?
I prefer the 30th.
You prefer the 30th, Margaret?
I'm easy peasy.
You're easy too. Joe?
I just think whichever one you choose, you're going to be risking engrossing.
Okay, can I just come back to you in a minute, Nick? Okay, Karen?
I think I prefer the 30th rather than the 23rd.
Right, if you're not here for either then, Nick, then it doesn't matter, does it?
No, there is something. There is a point I'd like to bring up. Because if you put it on the Tuesdays, I then can't appear on any of them.
The thing is, it avoids the Tuesdays because that's when the full council meeting.
Yeah, so
So
the
you're pushing it on
30th.
to,
So, as I said, it doesn't matter, providing you don't put it on. To me, it's whichever one avoids the Tuesdays. Because
well, it's the
I
30th,
can't
Nick.
do
Okay,
any
yes.
Tuesday.
Yes, we've got that, Nick. Yeah. Right. Okay. So at the moment, I think it is the majority is then is shifting on to the 30th. Yeah. How do you feel with you doing that, Duncan? Because we're going to go into mid-cycle then for you.
There's going to be I'm going to have to do a little bit of juggling with the case officers, but I'm reasonably confident that we can come to some sort of arrangement around extending deadline dates. If we end up, it is, yeah. Christmas is a funny one because it has at times been really busy, but for the last couple of years it's not been too bad. And to be honest, if we ended up in Quora, then I'm having to get those extensions because I would try and arrange a meeting for the following week. So I wouldn't be any worse off. Okay. So I'm. Thank you for asking. I'm quite happy with that. I'll just scroll.
No. Duncan, turn your microphone off a minute. With your cycle, because it means going into mid-cycle.
Yeah, no, I don't really want to talk about that in a public meeting. Thank you.
So I wanted to tell
yeah, no, that's the. To clarify, if we did that, then we would be, at the moment, we've got P&L on the 6th of January and on the 20th. We'd be moving those dates forward by 1 week. Okay, so what would that be? That would be the 13th and the 27th. Which, yeah, that has no great effect. But for the next month, it would mean that your P&L meeting, first meeting, would be on the 10th, which would be a Wednesday. And as we know, I mean, Nick's going to have trouble with that. And the way the calendar has been agreed at the moment, you've the same problem the next month. So that's, if we did had that 3-week gap and then shifted everything forward, your P&Ls for February and March will both be on Wednesdays, and they won't be the same week as full council.
And I have a vested interest as well. As much as I love you dearly, it means I won't have planning on my birthday. So there we go as the deciding thing on that. So. Because we're awesome. So, well, it's just how the cookie crumbles, isn't it, at the moment? Anyway, right, okay, so we're just talking about us, you know, because we're really important. Okay.
No, that's a really good point. That's not right at all. That's us meeting every week. Yeah. That one for the 7th shouldn't be there, and that one for the 21st shouldn't be there. That should be that should be 14th and 29th, shouldn't it? 28th. Yeah. So I think we need to report that back before.
Have they got the annual meeting? Do they have the town meeting at any point? That's the one up top, isn't it? That's not clashing. The last Wednesday.
So the annual town meeting has got to be confirmed. and the annual council meeting is on May the 5th.
So we're not clashing with the annual town meeting if we move it.
There's not a date set for it, so we can answer that.
Okay, so do we think I can propose then that we actually go with changing that to the 30th?
Yeah.
And then working on from 2 weeks from that then. So seconder?
Yep.
Sandy? Or did you want to second that your thing, or are you making another comment now?
I was making sure that we were, that Duncan notes about April being wrong.
Okay, I'm sure he has done. Right, second, all those in favour then? Yay, right. Oh, Margaret, was that not? Oh, yeah, it was, yeah. So like, oh, you were a blur of movement. Right, okay, marvellous. Are we okay on that then, Duncan? Yeah, brilliant, okay.
Sorry, I know these things are
Yeah,
difficult
no, that's fine.
to visualise.
Right, minutes. Item 4, minutes from the 15th of April. I'm happy to propose the minutes. Seconder?
I'll second.
All those in favour of minutes? Brilliant. Any matters arising from them? Oh, one abstention.
I have to abstain because I can't remember whether I was ill or not.
Okay, you need to put your microphone on.
So the idea is that you read them before you come to the meeting. You were at the meeting.
I haven't had my iBabs for a few days because I've got a new phone and I can't get on it.
You were at the meeting. Right. Any matters arising from the minutes? Anybody wanted to? No, marvellous. Right. Thank you. Right. Open session letters. So the people our wonderful visitors that we just had have departed. Have we had any written other communications in?
No, we've had no written questions.
Wonderful, active. Right, active consultations, Cornwall Seascape character appraisal. Thank you, Duncan.
In the paperwork So this is something that I think, Joanna, can you remember us being consulted on this before? The Seascape Character Assessment. No. Right, okay. Right, okay, yeah. I've this vague recollection of quite a long time ago that we might have done. This consultation is open from the 17th of April to the 15th of May. It will predate your time on council. Yeah, we're talking a long time ago, I think. So you've got a little note as to what the purpose of a seascape appraisal is in planning terms, and then this is something that we can, if we want to, respond to. We do not have to, but we can respond to it. And it asks two questions. What features in the seascape character area are particularly valued and why? What actions should be undertaken to preserve or enhance this seascape character area? I wondered if you might find this particularly relevant, given that we've had a lot of issues with the cliffs, etc. The way this works, let me see if I can get this to do it again. So we highlight the coastal area. I'm not certain I've done the right one there. What's that? Yeah, no, sorry. That's Watergate Bay and Ligger Bay. We then click on the comments, and we are. Oh, Christ. Sorry. Excuse me. I'm doing battle with this, and then we have open text boxes of up to 1,000 words, in which we can say what features of the seascape are particularly valued and what actions should be undertaken to preserve. As I say, you don't have to do this, and we certainly wouldn't be able, I don't think, to do this in this meeting, and the deadline is the 15th, so it's after the next meeting. So I think really the question is, do you want to respond to it, and if so, can we arrange a small daytime meeting in which I'm happy to come along if that's of help, and we can try and write something that answers both those questions. So I don't know what you think about that. It's of any value or not.
Can, yeah, go on.
Just what is the information going to be used for then?
That's explained on the sheet that I've given everybody.
If you look at it, then it talks about for planning. So I think there are elements on this which I think probably have been talked about in our neighbourhood plan and things as well. It's quite interesting though that I'm thinking of the proposal that we had that went through appeal below the Atlantic Hotel, when we had that as a protected open space between the town and the Atlantic Hotel, and it got built on anyway and sort of like ignored. So, but we didn't refer to this document as well. So, is there already, the current document already has comments on that we just haven't used, or?
It's not something that's come across my desk, to be honest, in the time that I've been here.
So it could be, I think it could be a useful thing that could be then referred to if they are using it then for planning and design. I think it'd actually be quite good then to have the skyline, and that the church is, you know, the dominant feature on the landscape.
It's sort of referring more to the coast than the actual look of the town. It's referring really, I think, to the well, I mean, you can see the area that's, you know, the areas that they highlight here. They're not the inland areas. They are. It's effectively where the land meets the sea.
Yes.
And that has been an issue for a number of works and applications, etc., that have taken place in Newquay, which is why I thought that I would, you know, bring this to the meeting.
Yeah.
But it is going to require 2 or more people to sit down and write something outside of this meeting and submit it before the next meeting.
So I don't mind meeting somebody if we want to discuss this. Joanna, do you feel that you want to be?
Yeah, when would we think of doing it?
Well, time in the next 2 weeks,
yeah.
But we could sort that out. Really, we just need to know: are we going to engage with this, and who's going to do it?
I mean, I don't know how it relates to the work we're doing on the coastal change management plan. So I suppose
I think we ought to put something in. So I mean, it protects. So for instance, hang on, Nick. For instance, if they suddenly wanted to put a new large structure on one of the beaches, then this would help
we need to talk
to do that.
The coastal change management.
Yeah. So, and within that as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just think it's really important, actually.
Yeah. I think that we do.
To put something down to protect these natural areas.
So yes, we do. Nick.
I can do any day, but Tuesday, any time between sort of 10 and 2.
Does anybody else want
so
to
I can help.
If Joanna and Nick and myself sort of meet. Anybody else want? Yeah, and Lamorna? Yeah. I know, because you've got your business and things to do, so I know that's.
But it's really,
Yeah, put me down as well.
Okay, so in terms of, I'm sort of thinking of maybe, we've got full council next Wednesday. At the moment, I'm free during the day, and Wednesday, Thursday, on the 7th, next week, I'm free in the morning.
Perhaps a calendar discussion could take place afterwards. We've got there's 4 people, and we're saying yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll do my best to.
But what I'm saying is, beyond that, I can't do. So
right. Okay. I'll do my best to engage with all 4 of you, and we'll find a time that works.
And did you get Sandy on that as well? Sandy wanted to be on that.
Right. No, I didn't. So that's 5.
Yeah. Okay.
And I mean, in an ideal world, we'd meet, draft something, and then email it around to everybody. That's sort of kind of typically and see if there are any comments come back before we actually submit it.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to support as much as I can with that.
So, I mean, you come in the afternoon, don't you, Duncan? So.
I can come in any other time of day. It's
Okay.
just that I'm usually doing my household chores, hoovering and washing up in the morning. It's the way I like to live,
So I
Karen.
have a vision of Duncan in a penny now. So.
Which one? I have two.
Yeah. Okay, I was going to go into retro.
We just need a proposal that yes, we are going to respond
Yeah,
to this.
so I'm happy to propose, yes, we are. Nick, can we second, unless it's another question? No. Second, all those in favour? Yeah, so I think that's quite important. Right, brilliant. Then we've got off-street parking order update.
Yeah, I'll just quickly go through what I've written here. Back in January, we were asked to comment on the proposed off-street parking places order for 2026. That would replace the 2024 order. The comment we returned, this committee returned, made clear our objection in the strongest possible terms to the proposed winter charging in our outlying car parks, along with concerns about the general 6% rise and the removal of the 3-hour band, which we felt both would potentially reduce the footfall in the town. We've now received Cornwall Council's feedback, which details various amendments to the initial proposal. We are thankful for our interest and are not being asked to comment further. The 2026 off-street parking order was sealed on the 26th of March and came into effect on the 1st of April. I'll just see if I've got it here to hand. I think that the only thing that vaguely changed was the Belmont. Just bear with, because it'll open in a second. There you go. So this is the whole of the feedback. The following car parks will not introduce winter charges, and that's the Belmont, as you can see, is highlighted. But everything else that we griped about has not been has not been acted upon.
Yeah, the real problem is that we've got a common structure of car park charges imposed across Cornwall, and it's utterly ludicrous in Newquay, which is what I pointed out to them several times. They have now promised me they would look at it, because basically they reduced the cost of the car parks, of the summer car parks, the tourism use, they reduced the cost of them, lost of tens of thousands of pounds. And they seem to be trying to get it back by charging in the winter. So they have promised me that they will now look at it. The officers are not happy because they like common charges across the whole of the Cornwall. It simply doesn't work in Newquay because of our huge difference between summer and winter. So watch this space. I'm hoping that they will actually listen to me this time, because they're losing such a lot of money by doing this, and they're not going to get it back by charging in Dane and Albany. I mean, they really are not. And it's unsuitable parking for, I mean, that's not my division, but it's unsuitable charges for the Watergate. I think.
Yeah. Well, quite a few local residents do. Yeah, I think, this is a good case where Cornwall Council could be using AI, really, and making it a lot more nuanced. I think, that rather than having a sweeping Cornwall thing, I mean, that's just like an ease, isn't it? And I think this is a good case for AI, that it could be a lot more nuanced, because comparing us to, Weybridge or someone else, that's just ridiculous. So this is just for noting, isn't it?
It is. The other point I'll just slip in quickly is that I have submitted what's become our annual parking FOI. Yes. Yeah. I've done that. It'll be a little while before it comes back. They say 20 days, so it should be quite soon. But I'll have that hopefully in not too many days' time.
Yeah, people don't know what we're talking about. We do a freedom of information request, and it comes back with a very detailed report. of not only how much income, but how many tickets of each class they're selling. And that's really interesting because the footfall reports we were getting is that there's been a big footfall drop in the town centre. But the car park charges, the car park income went up. So there's a sort of problem there.
Does that include the park and ride, Duncan? Did you include in that?
You could include it if necessary. But,
could you?
That would probably have to be a separate request.
Could you put in a separate request for the park and ride, please, Duncan?
Yeah.
And in the past
I might
as
need
well.
to have a conversation just to get the wording right, because the FOIs are all about, they're very precise in their work in the wording. So we might just have to put our heads together and have a quick chat about that.
How long's the park and ride been going? 3 years?
No, I don't think they've never given us the pass. What they've done is they've given us the 1 year, but we've now got 2 years worth, and with this one we'll have 3 years. We'll have
this
4
will
years.
be our third year
So
now.
we can actually make quite useful comparisons.
Yeah. So if we can do, if we can have the park and ride data as well with another request, that would be great, please, Duncan. Do we need a vote on that?
I think that you do.
I propose we have another Freedom of Information request on the park and ride, seconded by Joanna. All those in favour? Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah,
thank
lovely.
you, Duncan.
Thank you.
Brilliant, thank you. Right, the Coastal Change Management Plan for Newquay. Duncan?
Yeah, right. Following the Newquay Coastal Change Management Plan meeting that took place on the 8th of April, I attended it from the Town Council. I attended it. Joanna and Sarah and Helen Fincham did a stunning job, I thought.
Yeah.
And we met with Helen Nicholson and Justin Ridgewell. Yeah.
Can I just say, Helen Fincham's our Cornwall Council Liaison Officer, if you didn't know. Okay.
And Helen Nicholson is the Future Coast Bude Programme Manager. Anyway, following that meeting, Helen Nicholson provided a list of 4 proposals, which are on the screen at the moment. Newquay Town Council commits to Coastal Change Management Plan development, and funding is sought from DEFRA, working together with Cornwall Council. Delegation is given to the clerk to agree a grant funding and collaboration agreement with Cornwall Council for Coastal Adaptation Accelerator Programme funding for the current financial year, and to pay for appropriate technical studies and officer time. We were told about studies that Cormac have been doing on some of the cliffs, which sounded fascinating. Really the time-sensitive one is, and which we ought to have a vote on this evening, is that the council supports an expression of interest to be submitted by the 30th of June with Cornwall Council for coastal transition pilot funding to finalise the Coastal Change Management Plan. To start with, we were in a bit of a panic because we thought this was going to have to be agreed here. They were recommended to full council, and then full council would have vote. Under our new scheme of delegation, it's considered an operational matter, and we can make that decision on behalf of the town council.
Joanna, come.
You translate that in English. What they're saying is, they will apply for grant money for us. Will we accept the money? You may remember that we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago, and Duncan and I were action to write a letter saying that we've got a coastal change management area and we need a coastal change management plan, and we don't know what we're doing. So can we have some help? And we got halfway through drafting the letter when they came to us and said, we've got some extra money from the Bude project, we're very keen to make Newquay, but basically they're saying we will be the very first proper coastal change management plan. It makes all the difference with our policies in the new local plan, because without that, they sort of put in some words that saying if you've got a plan, your policies don't count. So we need that plan, and we are now getting official help, and all they're asking us to say was, if we can get you money, will you accept it? And I shouldn't.
So for this, so this will cover for a year to do the technical stuff. Cormac apparently have already done two sections of coast in Newquay, haven't they already? So this was getting the technical stuff for later on. So for then putting in for future grant monies for plan in the future to draw it all together. So this is getting the data to get the plan, and then that will then feed into future planning applications and everything as well. So Bude, they do the plan, but haven't got the designated area, but we've got the area and we don't have the plan. So they went, so it's DEFRA money, it's DEFRA that's working with Cornwall Council at the moment on this in Bude. And when they put in that, they put in about Newquay, because Newquay, with the designation with the coastal area, was at the forefront of the country for this. So we will be forerunners for this. So it's really important, and yeah, it's about securing that grant funding and working into partnership agreements. So I'm really happy to propose that we go forward with this. So second for that, and all those in favour? Yeah.
Want us to propose. I think there might be a little admin, because what we might need to do is the facilitation and having sort of working parties and what have you to discuss it with, providing the accommodation and that sort of thing. But effectively, this seems to be an investment in Newquay which we're not having to pay for.
Sorry, I'll just say the final one, which I didn't get to because we got stuck into the expression of interest. The final one was the Planning and Licensing Committee agrees terms of reference for a working group with links to the Saints Coast Community Area Partnership Environment Group and other stakeholders to oversee the work programme. So I think that's probably, we'll do the expression of interest first, and then that's probably the next thing to do.
So I chair the Saints Coast Community Area Partnership Environment Group as well.
Would you suggest an email going out across full council?
Did they want us to set up the group straight away?
There's no harm in us. Well, perhaps shall I inquire from Helen?
Because we need to have it as a formal working party to P&L. I think that's the obvious place for it.
Yeah.
And
I'll email Helen and ask her when the working party, when they would expect the working party to have work to do, and then we'll go from there about setting it up and writing terms of reference.
I mean, it could, hang on a minute, Karen. I mean, it could be worth, considering, a coastal working party really for this, and it would cover like the other plan as well, so it could be quite interesting going into the future for having a working party for that anyway, that anybody can join. Karen?
It's just a query really. If this coastal change management plan was already in existence, would things like, is it protecting the cliffs from development? Well, is that the end goal, really?
So we would likely have in it. Do you want to put your? Oh, sorry. We would have in it no development in a coastal change in our coastal change management area. Now we've had this fight about this tiny one, which has eventually got through, and we're continuing to object. But effectively, our cliffs are disintegrating. There will be things I would like to look at are the where all the utilities are going, because we do know that Tolcon, they put a water tank, a tap pipe along the top of the cliffs. We need to be able to say, the plan says you do not put water pipes on the top of a cliff, because sooner or later, there'll be a break and that will destroy the cliffs. That is exactly the sort of thing we would be saying.
So if this plan's in place, we'll have authority, we'll have the backing to be able to
If you look at the coastal
stop
change,
this kind of development.
if you look at the coastal change DPD, it says there are certain rules that apply all to coastal Cornwall, except if you have a coastal change management area with a coastal change management plan, and then the policies in the plan override the general. And there's no doubt going to be a fight, because the Cornwall cliff people, who are brilliant, but they like to keep, they like to have the final way. They like to have a subjective view about whether they think a policy development is a good one or not. Whereas I would prefer an objective policy that says no, none at all. And that is something that this plan will fight out.
So it's future proof. So it's gathering data on it, but it's also then we'll be looking at that when the road closes, like Porth and things, where the new. So it's going to be like resilienting. So sort of like, do we actually ask utilities to divert and find a new way off from Tolkien? Do we start looking at where are the utilities for Brown Porth or the Gannel, for instance, that might need to be moved in the future to make us resilient rather than waiting for the cliff to collapse. So that's what this document will do. So, yeah.
But no one has we think it's going to be brilliant.
But I'm just thinking Whipsnade and things like that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Licensing. I haven't got any licensing on mine, Duncan, have we?
No, there was one, but it came in slightly late. We'll look at it at the next meeting.
Okay,
so we've got none for today.
Previous planning decisions?
Yeah, no 5-day protocols, but there was a non-material amendment. Very pleased to say 6 of you responded by email, and you all chose to support this non-material amendment. So I've returned the comments, obviously, because the deadline has passed.
So I propose that due process was taken. Seconder? Yeah. Sandy seconded. All those in favour? Yeah, everyone's paws are in the air. Wonderful, thank you. Right. So we're on to planning applications now. So we've got just clicking onto list 1, we triaged, let's see if I can get them up, right, we triaged, how many have we got? 1, is it just 1?
There's just 1 on list 1, yeah.
Yeah. So we put on here then actually application 1, PA 26/02312, which was 94 Tower Road, which was, and just an internal layout and replacement of windows and things. There was, and doing the rear porch and things. There was nothing major to this, was there? And
I mean, we don't really need to discuss
No.
it. We just need to say.
I mean, there's nothing.
happy?
It's nothing changing. On here.
We just need to vote on the recommended response if everybody's happy with that.
So if everyone's then happy, then I'm happy that we propose that that we support this. Seconder? Sandy seconding. All those in favour of support? Yeah, that's everybody. Thank you, everyone, for that. So list 2. There we go. Yeah, and I'm up first. I'm presenting 2. Right, so application 2, PA 26/02117, which is 16 Veal Road. Construction of a front porch and single-storey rear extension. Excuse me. Yeah, so if we up there, do we all know where Veer Road is? Yeah, brilliant, thank you. So site plan, let's get my clicker here. So we're sort of like halfway up the hill on the west side, and it shows the current position here of the bungalow, which is in the roof space already, I think, at the moment. So if we look at Google Maps and see the street view. Thank you, Duncan. Oh, it's a zoomed in one. There we go. So we've got the nice terracing effect then coming down here, and with that we see actually, I was thinking of the next one, which is a small bungalow with the garage. And if you can just scan to the opposite side of the road, Duncan, this is an old map, and this property here, oh no, it's this one here, actually has got a dormer window here. So we're, bearing that in mind as to the proposal we're having. So if we have a look at the proposed plans and elevations.
Zoom in.
Yeah, if you could, she says, squinting at the screen. So this is going to be the new front porch with the door at the side, so with new windows here, so which is quite nice, and you can see then from the side elevation then. Yeah, it's a bit of an optical illusion, isn't it? Because it's like halfway up the roof with the pitch roof and a little roof light in there as well coming forward. And then round the back, then there is a rear view extension. Now we put this onto list 2 because it is then coming out from the front of the building and would look quite different on the street scene from that row on that side. So if we can just have a quick look back at the street view, you'll see what I...
Could I add something as well, Sarah?
Yeah, of course you can.
Another reason was that there was a public objection.
Yes.
But you'll find at the front of your comments pack that there is now public support, and I believe that that's the applicant addressing the concerns of the neighbour.
Yeah. So the concern with it that the extension at the back didn't have opaque glass, whereas if we go back to the proposed plan and elevation and we zoom in, I think it says up, we've got obscured glazing in those windows. It's not, and they're high up windows. And I think the front porch has obscure glass as well, doesn't it? As well, glazing here. And it was these big windows at the sides. So it's not going to be directly looking into the neighbouring property, which was the concern before. And of course, the roof lights don't really, they've got a roof light in that which is looking straight up. And the roof light, that's not looking into any neighbours at all.
Do we have a street scene picture?
So the front porch will be coming out from that. And if you scan up the hill, Duncan, it is sort of breaking that line of the properties. So I don't know if anybody has concerns on that or not. They're quite different, but I mean the houses opposite all come backwards and forwards and things.
Yeah.
They're all sort of like offset, and this one here is sticking out. So I was just putting it out there as to whether anyone might have any concerns with that. The overall plan, it is making it practically doubling the size of the property, but they're not going up the roof. So it is, which I like. It is maintaining it as a bungalow, which is one of my, as you all know, is one of my little bugs and loss of bungalows and things. So you can see, this is sort of like the size, and all this is extension. So it's almost doubling the size of the property. But it's going backwards behind, and it still has quite a large garden and everything as well. And it's not concerned, it's quite a distance from the edge here to the neighbouring property on the other side. It's quite a long way. Yeah, Karen?
Just the neighbour is concerned about the back part of the extension, and it's going to affect the light into her kitchen windows. I was just wondering.
No, it's sort of this property is effectively to the north of her neighbour.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't work like that. If you
Which
see,
neighbour are we talking
it's
about?
this one here. I think I'm pretty sure this is 14. 40. Yes, I've written on here is to the south.
Right.
So this is west and east, and so effectively it's north of her neighbour, because the extension then was going to be in here, and you see the extension then is offset from that one. So I mean, if we want to just check on that on the street view, that I'm pretty sure 14 is there. So it's not going to be obscuring light. It can't if it's to the north.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Wanting to check for the sake of the neighbour that it wasn't.
So the only thing is sort of would be the outlook.
Right.
But she hasn't picked. It says if the glass is not completely obscured, then the floor height might result in looking straight into my conservatory and garden. Well, it is obscured, so.
It's worthwhile asking the officers.
Yeah, to check on that. Yeah. And I don't. Did it have anywhere about photovoltaics and things? So it could be a G2 thing with water and bird boxes and all that sort of thing. I don't think it was. No.
There's roof lights.
Yeah, they're roof lights. So I'm happy. So Nick, yeah.
I was going to say I'm happy to propose no objection, subject to
Yeah.
what we've mentioned.
I'd just like the planning officer just to check with that neighbour that, because she's got a real concern about the effect of light going into her kitchen with the extension, and I would like to just check on that.
The subject to is.
Yeah, we can add that subject to, yeah, of course. That's why we're suggesting no objection rather than fully support.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can you turn your microphone off, please, Karen? So no objection, seconder for no objection. Sandy will second that. All in favour of no objection? Yeah, so subject to those planning officer checks on that.
On the checks on the no loss of light and making sure the back windows obscure.
What I do with those is I just use the broad term residential amenity.
Yeah.
Because that effectively means the ability of the neighbour to continue enjoying their property. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the wording that I will use, and I'll throw the G2 in as well.
Thank you. Right, brilliant, awesome. Right, application 3 we have covered. Application 4 is, I'll chatter away one. Duncan's digging this one up. Right, so this is PA 26/02168, workshop up at Mount Wise. Change of use from a commercial mechanic garage to a dwelling, namely forming a dwelling over existing building, retaining the ground floor as garage, parking, storage area. It's not somewhere where you normally get to.
It's not in the workshops where I got an office, where the Thames have an office, is it?
I've no idea. I don't know where.
Unless you hold your meetings in a garage, and I don't think that you do.
Skip to the diagram.
It is at the back.
It's at the back. You're on Cleveland Road, aren't you?
Sorry? We're on Cleveland Road,
Cleveland, yeah.
All right.
Okay, right, this is over to Duncan.
Yeah,
Just get everything out. Thank you, Duncan.
Yeah, no worries. I'll just line this lot up quickly. Okay, so we are, yeah, so we're looking at a site that is pretty much opposite Mount Wise Gardens, and it's not on the frontage. You actually come up this lane, and in fact this is the garage in question here, so it's not on the road. This is the garage, okay? We've got a street view. Well, I'm sorry, we haven't got a street view. This is about as good as it gets. This is the access lane. The garage is just sort of kind of round the corner and slightly to the left, okay? But that gives you an idea of where we are anyway. Mount Wise Gardens over there. So location plan. Again, sort of just reiterating what we've said. You've got the access, and then you've got the garage, existing garage there. Existing block plan. To make that slightly smaller to fit it all on. So the access is from the shown on sort of like the bottom there from the south, and this is the garage. So you can see it's quite tight around the other properties. You've got the back of properties that face Henver Road. It doesn't show it brilliantly on here, but you've got the back of Mount Wise cottages that would run along the top of that diagram as well. And then you've got some others around the east and south. The proposed block plan, not much of a change really, as you can see, and this is because the applicant wishes to build up, so using the footprint of the building and building upwards. Okay, existing elevations and floor plans. These show the workshop. It's got a slightly greater roof height than the garages that join it. As per the application description, the dwelling will sit over this existing building, so retaining the ground floor as garaged parking stroke storage area. That's what's shown here on this floor plan as a garage workshop. So that will effectively be an open storage stroke parking space, and the dwelling will sit on the top, as we can see on this diagram. We've got a couple of sets of elevations here. This is the north and south. So the north would face toward, that top elevation would face towards Mount Wise. The south elevation would, on the other side of the building, will be where the front door is. And then if we go on to the next set, the west elevation, that's got a new garage door put into it. Garage door sort of stroke entrance to the storage, and the east would be the side that joins onto the existing garages, and that faces the back of the Mount Wise cottages, so effectively looking sort of kind of northwards over the top of these flat roof garages, and you've got the Mount Wise cottages not shown on this but along the top there. Have a quick consideration of the floor plans. The ground floor, they've created some division there, so you've got a domestic garage, a storage space, and then you've got the stairwell that leads up to the first floor, and then the first floor is on this one. Basically you've got the habitable living space, kitchen, dining room, bedroom, bathroom, etc., living room, and it's worth noting that it's a flat roofed, as is the existing. It would be a flat roofed property. What sort of room sizes? I don't.
My suspicions about that dining room, which might convert into a bedroom.
I'm not certain that we've got any measurement on that.
I think it's very small.
So have concerned because this is south of the Mount Wise properties in terms of their light and outlook. that you're suddenly putting in a two-storey building. So do we have how far, if you go to the proposed plan as well, I think I have suspicions of it being too small. That one there, the distance between the proposed building here and like number 65, what is that distance there? Have we got the scale?
Let's see.
Because that's really,
Sorry, my brain's stopped working. Okay. So garage and right.
yeah,
I mean, you can see it's not massive.
no.
I mean, that's the house.
I mean, you've got a shadow from it, but we don't know what time of,
I think that you're looking at less than 7 metres to that,
Yeah.
to the actual building. That's
Yeah.
not the garden.
yeah.
It's only looks like the road, the width
Yeah.
of the access is probably only about 2 to 3 metres.
So that's the shadow at the moment. So if you can imagine, this is then a two-storey building. That shadow is going to be a lot greater, and even so in winter time. And of course, their outlook at the moment upstairs overlooks that to the south, and so I have concerns as to outlook and light on this as well, in terms of, let alone size of amenities and size of room, and where's the recycling and the bin stuff going.
And where are the windows related to the windows behind? Because I know they did try to do something similar up on Pentar, if you remember.
Yeah.
And that failed because the window looks straight into a window that
Yeah.
was opposite.
Yeah, and Margaret's got a hand up. So if Duncan asks, if we just look at where the windows are.
Yeah,
So
so that north elevation is the one that faces those properties that are on Mount Wise.
this
So
one
the
here with
rear
those
of
two
Mount
windows,
Wise properties.
north.
These two windows here.
Yeah, are going to be looking straight into that backyard up here. Margaret?
So two things for me. There's no amenity space with this at all. And also, what about emergency vehicles getting up? You know, there is the
The width of that
scope
lane.
for a fire
yeah,
engine, and
It is
I'm
big.
excuse me, I'm speaking. You know, could a fire engine get up there? Could an ambulance? It's not that wide, I can tell you, because I walk past it most days. And this is going to be where somebody is living. But the amenity space for me is really important.
Sometimes say that someone who's prepared to live in a got little flat doesn't expect to get any amenity space. I agree with you though. Yeah. I'm worried about the measurements. I have my suspicions that that dining room study is going to be converted into something else. I just don't think it's big enough.
Yeah. Well, it's the impact for the neighbours primarily as well, and it's their outlook that are going to be suddenly going to have that wall there. Does anybody have any other statements on this? Joanna?
Propose objection.
Yeah.
Listing all of those things. We have serious concerns
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And if Duncan can list them down.
Yeah.
No amenity space, effect on the neighbours, insufficient, not meeting national standards, needs to be restricted to one bedroom only.
And let alone lack
Got
of
other bits as well.
yeah,
so,
and all the G2 and photovoltaic stuff and water and sewage. Yeah. So I'm happy to second that. So objection? That's everyone. Yeah.
We don't have
wonderful.
any, I'm assuming we don't have any objection to having it, we're not losing any commercial space, so we're not objecting to the principle of having a house on top of a commercial building, just whether it's big enough.
I mean, it's garage parking there, so it's
Yeah.
not commercial. So I presume.
Right, so, I mean, we've had our vote now, but the existing building is a mechanics garage that has been operating for 55 years, and the application comes from the current owner.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a garage that I know, but that's what the DNA statement says.
They actually do repairs there, I do know there's a lot of...
Yeah. Right, application 5. Oh, right. I'll just, well, Duncan's donging this up. This is PA 26/01902. This is land north of the A392, so adjacent to what we saw at the last planning, so opposite Hendra. Planning development for 248 dwellings. Please note then that we are consultees on this because it's in Colne Parish. Yeah, so I think what did we see last time? Was it how many? 116. So over double. Yeah. It's a shame, nobody's come and given us a presentation on this, is there? I think we did have a public consultation. Yeah, I thought it was the other one, but it was this one, wasn't it, that we looked at? Yes.
So yeah, barely a meeting goes by without us being asked about planning applications in Colne, it seems. So you recall from the last meeting that there was development in this the beautifully named NQM2 zone, which is basically the allocated area, which is basically this. And that's what we looked at our last meeting. What we're now looking at is next door, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, but not the one in the middle. Yeah. Sorry, no, I'm wrong. Start at the green one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and not this light brown one. This is the fields that we looked at in the last. That was the residential. That was the economic. So this is a development. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rail line running along the top of it. This is an outline application. I'm not certain if everybody in this room has looked at an outline application before. They're very much about the principle of development, and in this case about the access to the development. If it were to be approved, then this application would be followed by another which covered the remaining reserved matters. The remaining reserved matters being landscaping, layout, appearance and scale. So for this one, effectively, we're looking just at the principle of building on this land and the access. It's worth bearing in mind that everybody who will be consulted on a development like this has been consulted, even though a lot of their comments don't refer to set in stone drawings and aspects of the application. It really is about access. A lot of people in the comments have spoken about things other than access, but this is about access. Their comments may inform the next application, but a lot of them wouldn't be able to be taken into consideration and used as a means to object to this. It's the principle of development, and it's the proposed access to that development. Starting off with the design and access statement. I just thought this was quite a useful diagram because it gives, the site there is in red, the site that we looked at our last meeting is there in green. It kind of gives you an impression of what I would almost term the infill that's taking place as Newquay grows. So you've got Nance Leddon to the north. You've got the various other developments that we have looked at, and this is the site itself. The location plan. Slightly dull looking drawing. It shows the application site in red. It also shows in blue the land which abuts the, I can never say this properly, the Hautot development, which is, sorry, say that again? Horto, there you go. The Horto development being this grey one here, which is 800 dwellings. So the point is that this blue land is under client control. And it's also worth noting as well that this section down here is not under client control. So we've roughly got this sort of, I mean, very vaguely a horseshoe-shaped development. The parameter plans, let me just have a look at that. I thought this was a useful one because it shows, in quite simple terms, the orange is the residential areas, the green is the public open space that would accompany this application. The black line here is the primary route through the development. The yellow, hopefully you can see that okay, they are pedestrian and cycle connections, dedicated pedestrian and cycle connections. And you can see that the access is from the A392 just a little bit west of the access to the Hendra Holiday Park. We've got an illustrative layout. This has been commented on by many of the consultees. This layout remains a reserved matter, so we really shouldn't bother ourselves too much with it at the moment. It may well, it's very, very likely that it will be subject to change if we see a reserved matters application. But hopefully this allows you again to appreciate the potential mix of residential development and open space that this application proposes. What I will do though is just using this map is just zoom in a little bit because this is all about the access, and this is the access that they are proposing for vehicles coming off the A392, and it's in the very hefty number of comments that that accompany this. It is here that Cornwall Council Highways have recommended installing either a Ghost Island priority junction, and I have actually provided you with a photograph, an image of what that looks like in your document pack, because I've never heard that before. I can't tell you what page it's on, I'm afraid, but Highways have recommended either a Ghost Island priority junction or signals, and I got the impression that they preferred
Page 13.
Page 13. Thank you, Joanna. I got the feeling that they seem to prefer the signalisation option.
Yeah, I think the ghost means it's just a few white lines.
It is, yes. Yeah, but you've got the picture, so you now know what a Ghost Island priority junction is. If you type Ghost Island into Google, it comes up with a very interesting book about pirates, but that's an aside. We shall now look at we've got a couple of site access proposals to look at. I'll zoom in a little bit more on that. 100% should do it, yeah. So this is that access. This is with your Ghost Island priority junction. So, hopefully, I think you can see if you're coming from Quintal Downs, you're basically pulling into this bit. You've got traffic going that way, traffic coming this way, and a space where you would pull into, and then when there's a break in the traffic, you turn in.
I mean, I'll just say the main problem, of course, with that is coming out and wanting to go this way because you've got traffic blocked in the middle of the road.
Yeah. But that's how that's how those work.
So, sorry, just continuing on with that. So, of course, effectively, that's creating the same junction that they've just got rid of down at Train Creek and coming out from the farm shop at Trevilly. So, yeah, we need lights there because it's a long way from this to get down to the roundabout to turn round. It's not like the two roundabouts yeah. So, you know, for us, I think traffic lights would definitely be a preferential access.
Another aspect to this is the informal pedestrian crossing that they would look to put in place. It says informal pedestrian crossing with I don't quite know what that means, a refuse or refuse. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's probably, yeah, yeah, because that's, yeah, because that's, yeah, because that's a strange place to put your recycling, isn't it? So with a refuge island, dropped curbs and tactile pavement. I'll zoom in slightly closer. I mean, you can see that is, I mean, it's it can be a busy road, can't it? I mean, depending on the time of year and the time of day, that's not a road. Well, you know, that's one thing anyway. So an informal crossing. This is the signalised junction with controlled crossing facilities, and this has got what I believe we would sort of view as a more formal pedestrian crossing. So you know, stand there, press the lights, wait till they're red, and cross the road. Further east, on both of these proposals. Further east, you have an emergency pedestrian stroke cycle, emergency vehicle stroke pedestrian stroke cycle access with a lockable bollard capable of being used by the emergency services. So effectively, that's not the only way in. On a day-to-day basis, it would be, but this is a way in that could be used in an emergency, or would be used by cyclists and pedestrians. And I think that there's another informal, there's an informal crossing in place there, and that feature is on both the Ghost Island and the signalised plans. You might also notice that there are new bus stops. There's a shared pedestrian cycle route, and perhaps most importantly, a proposed speed limit reduction to 30 miles an hour, with the national speed limit sign moved to the very east of the site. So you would, if you were going out of town, you would drive past this development before you could go beyond 30 miles an hour.
At the moment, it's 40, isn't it?
Okay, and that's effectively the application. There is a landscape plan, but as I say, landscaping isn't a reserved matter. So I wouldn't. Sorry, it is a reserved matter. So I wouldn't suggest that we bother ourselves too much with this. And there's a landscape visual appraisal, which is absolutely useless because it doesn't, or all it does is kind of point red lines at fields. You're very welcome to have a look at it, but it adds very little to our understanding of this of this site. It will do when they talk about scale and, you know, how tall the buildings are and the massing, but at the moment there's no, it's like fields but without any buildings on. It's you know.
Well, Nick, what did you want to say before Joanna?
That road is a nightmare at the minute. I don't like either of them, being honest. The only option, I think, is a roundabout further down and then do the same as what they've got at Train Creek. So that you can't come across the middle, because you'll have people trying to jump lights and all sorts in there.
But, well,
it'd be a nightmare.
they've got the traffic lights at the moment with the new, whichever estate it is further down from the Morrisons, and they've got traffic lights there, haven't they? So I think. What?
That one when you're coming up.
No, it's the traffic coming from the new estate on
Yes,
the colon thing. It's for traffic.
When you're coming up, you cannot make a right-hand turn. You have to go up to the roundabout and down. So that is basically a Trent Creek one with only one end.
I'm talking about the new estate on the other estate.
This is past the Henry roundabout. This is past the roundabout, isn't it?
Okay, right, okay. Well, I think the traffic light option is the best from this. I don't know what people are nodding and concurring. Margaret? Oh, well, Joanna would you go, Joanna?
Actually go to this presentation. The thing I like about it is when we were having all that fuss about the sort of the car park along the railway, and needs must in this, they have recognised that the land goes straight down to the railway and there's huge flood problems, so they've created quite a nice green area, and that's purely because they have to. I mean, it's awful. They are cramming the houses in, aren't they? But I doubt if there's anything we can do about that, but it seems very
Well, you can comment on it, don't they? That it seems to be very densely
yeah, I think we can say it's very
by small accommodation.
It says up to 248.
Yeah,
It could come in
yeah.
at less.
But
when we
the
see
diagram is
reserve
showing it
matters.
is very, very dense, and it could be over dense for the area, even though they have this lovely green space, which they have to have.
Yeah.
To is that to the north, I guess. But I'm not sure at this stage we've got anything else. We're just sort of saying, is this a suitable place to put a housing estate? I mean, sooner or later, I don't know why who owns that field, who's sort of just not selling it off. But the next worry would be the next one, which would be going down to Quint. And they really need to get some protection there.
Actually, I don't think he's selling it at the moment. We've got the dog walking field as well further over.
I can't see any reason for objecting to it.
No, I mean, the other one's going, I mean, it's got in here. I think if we reiterate our concerns that infrastructure, of Newquay is not capable of absorbing these more houses, recognising the need for more houses, that if we can still note that from a town council perspective, that we're concerned that Newquay's infrastructure cannot cope with that.
But they're not going to take it easy.
No, I know they're not, but we have got it down on paper that we have voiced our concerns for education and for health and for fire and the police and everything else.
This is a code development, it's going to affect the materials.
Yeah, for Newquay resources. So Margaret and then Karen.
So two things, it's disappointing because we're now going to lose more agricultural land. It is part of Chapel Farm.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that they have to, but there's 248 properties, 174 are going to be for private sale, 74 shared ownership, etc., etc. But they haven't indicated, they must know whether they're one bedroom, two bedroom, but they haven't put anything in the detail in there.
They don't. They absolutely don't. They wouldn't at this point. They might. They might have an idea, but they.
Sorry, can I just
but
put
that's not what's
top?
being.
Can I put in for an in favour?
But I suppose for us, not knowing that,
Yeah, thank you.
not knowing that doesn't tell us how many people are going to live there. If there's loads of 4 bedrooms or whatever, they know what they're putting there already because they've put the houses on the actual picture. But it is disappointing, to be honest, more land gone.
Karen?
In principle, I don't think they should be allowed to have a housing estate there. It's agricultural land. Losing that, the roads can't cope, the town can't cope with 248 extra houses. There's umpteen reasons why we can't have this kind of building continuing in Newquay. We haven't got the resources, we haven't got the doctors, we haven't got the schools. Henver Road is a bottleneck at the moment. It's an absolute nightmare driving along Henver Road, and this is all just going to add to that, because the build-up of traffic coming back from Henver Road onto the A392 will be a nightmare. Doesn't matter how many traffic lights they put in, it's just taking away the green land. They're going to be filling it in all the way to Quintrell. We've got to stand up to this. It's ridiculous. Sorry.
The trouble is, this land's already been designated for development already, hasn't it?
But we can still object as a planning committee, because the infrastructure's not there.
You have to have a material planning reason why. And currently what we're facing is this ridiculous target for houses that the government has imposed. You've got the, what's it called, the tilted balance, which basically says, we don't care what you say, we're going to pass it because we must have these houses. And I totally agree with everything you say. I think it's a shame to lose the fields. I think our services can't support it. But I don't think we've got enough to object on it. I think we can raise our concerns that you've got no idea how much pressure there is on the... Particularly when you add in the one that's next door.
Yeah, we only voted for
How
it the
many
other
was
day.
the one next door?
I think it was 116. Was it last time?
That sounds vaguely familiar.
So we're talking
Yeah.
400.
I could, I mean, I can.
It is.
check
I
if
mean,
you want.
I do have concerns about the density of housing on this, because they can't build. They can't build on the floodplain and things. So, and the compression of that.
We don't know what the
we
density
don't
of
know.
housing will
No.
be. We will get an opportunity, if they approve this, to comment on that
I
when the next application
I think we
comes in.
need to keep hammering away, though, the loss of this, and of course it is in Curlin Parish as well. So, and they don't have a neighbourhood plan, so they don't have the.
I assume they're going to be objecting, are they?
I don't know.
They object to the last one.
Yeah,
I don't see any harm in objecting on the basis that we don't think we have the services to support this development. It's not going to make any difference. Just
In
make
terms
us
of,
feel
the
better.
access is the access is the other question that you're being asked
It's
about.
it's the access.
What are you
I
saying
do-
about the access?
I do have, an issue with all these roads then, with the issues that had already been raised with Train Creek, and these need for traffic lights. That's really going to slow this road down. They've made this into the trunk road and the designated access then to coming in along the A392 and then going down onto the A3059 to get onto the coastal road to take the pressure off Henver Road. But they're adding more stopping points on that. So I do have concern about that. And the housing that we sort of shrugged and gave the okay to the west of it last time has just got a turning coming on. Then they're going to really struggle to pull in and out of there, because we weren't given a transport option, I don't think, with that. So yeah.
Transport is always down to highways. If they say it's all right, it doesn't matter what we think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Karen.
We don't know the effects. I mean, we've got the first housing estate that's going to go there. The effects of that on that road, going in and out, and then we're now being asked to make a decision or to approve yet another housing estate right next door, and we don't even know what the implications of the first housing estate are.
Yeah.
It's just a huge build-up of traffic. with an already, you add summer traffic in there, it's just going to be an absolute nightmare, because that's one of the major roads into Newquay.
So
and
are we talking about the cumulative effect?
yes, of
The road transport and the utilities of the, is it that utilities
Yeah.
is the wrong word, infrastructure of the town?
yeah. And particularly concerned at this moment then with transport as well, because of course at the moment we've still got, this is the park and ride field, but I mean these fields are going to be designated for, you know, industrial light. Yeah, it's meant to be going in there. So you're going to have, you know, more traffic, you know, from that. So yeah, I know we refer to as the tip. So are you going to make a proposal then, Karen?
I would like to propose to object to this plan.
Seconder? Margaret got in there, so all those in favour of objection?
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah.
difficult to write a strong objection, but I'll do my absolute best for you. All right.
I personally think sometimes we have to object, no matter how difficult
Yeah.
it is,
Yeah,
whether
yeah.
we're going to achieve anything, so that people listening to this meeting, the residents we represent, don't say, oh, we won't object, we won't do this because it's no point. We need to be sort of standing up and being counted regardless of what the outcome is.
I think as well with the density of housing on that as well, I think we're, compared to the last one, you know, this is over double. So, and they are all given as small houses. There isn't a block of flats in that, for instance. So it is very cramped accommodation. Right, okay, application 6 is me, so that's PA 26/02463, 34 Parkland Close. Proposal then for dormers on the current property. So
Go from 160.
yeah, now to dormers. Right, so Duncan's just, if you can quickly keep up and we can just do it, and there we go. When what do we think? No, stop it.
Why did we call this one in?
Well, you'll see in a minute.
The size of them.
Yeah, beasts at the front. Right, so Parkland, 34 Parkland Close. So we can have a quick look at the location block plan. Is here. So I think actually I should have done this the other way around. Can we just have a look at the Google Maps? This is where we are. So Parkland. So this.
That's not.
Yes. Yeah. Well, so do you want to just? So does everybody know where we are?
Yes.
St Column Minor, Karen? Yes. It's the turning as you come around the corner onto Henver Road, and you turn right. And it's at the top, and we're going to be looking at the corner property here on the top. Okay. If we just have, if we go back just to the location block plan. So it's quite big. It's sitting in the middle there on the corner site. And if we can have a look at then as the street view. Thank you, Duncan. There we go. So we're in Bungalow Central. It has currently at either end. It's got I think it's either end. It's got small windows. It's already in the loft. You wouldn't, that's at its back. But if Duncan scans around and does 360 degrees, there's no other dormers around there. They're all that because the other one is at the back of its property. Yeah. So there's nothing on the front and is actually quite small. So so if we have a look at the existing floor and roof plans. So that's the existing plan, and you can see that it has two small windows at either end, and I think a couple of skylights in there. That it's already in the roof. It goes upstairs, and there's already bedrooms in there. So And then if we look at the proposed floor and roof plans, and we will focus on the roof space really, you can see that they are extending this a lot, both front and the back on this. But this is going to be your street side, so you're going to have a long dormer here with 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and you're going to be having a smaller dormer here. So if we look at the existing elevations there, and then if we go to the proposed, that's why we brought it in. They are large dormers on this side. And it's opposed to, and then they've got solar voltaics on the south side of their roof, as opposed to putting the dormer on the south side at the back. Yeah, so, and you can see that it's roof height coming right out here, and it's very large. It's going to have a big impact on the street scene. That's why so they've put in SketchUp of what it's going to look like. There's, I think, 4 of them, so perspectives, I think they call them. So that's one perspective, and it's just the same again, I think at a slightly different angle. Next one, there, and next one. No. So proposed. So that's the back. So that the other one, it doesn't really matter. But this is it, the black. So yeah. So it's putting then the skylights at the back on the southern side with the solar voltaics. And I don't know, it just seems odd to me. And, you know, so it's going to impact the street view an awful lot, as opposed to like the neighbour, which is over here, having the dormer there. So it is creating a new view from up here into the neighbouring property on the other side of the road, but obviously there's that distance there, which will be, because the bungalows on the other side are set off, if we just scan round. I mean, if you want to look at the distance on satellite image. So the distance from there to the neighbour is quite considerable. So even though it's creating new views, but I think that's the car park, yeah, in terms of, yeah.
So you wouldn't get away with rejection
No.
on those grounds.
No, and it's too far away to create shading. Whereas you see, that's the dormer at the back of the one there. So I do have I have concerns on the street view. Joe?
Switching the dormers would create other problems as well. So, you know.
Effectively, it's going to be looking at the neighbouring property, which is there. I mean, that could be, you know, why that's done. Karen? I think Karen, and then you, Joanna. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, if the dormers were on the other side, but it's quite close to the neighbour, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
So
from there
it's going to overlook the neighbouring property, so that's not a solution.
I objected to this because it's very similar to what I did, and it's exactly the same reason, is that I've kept I haven't gone on the Gamel side because of the voltaic stuff. I think they haven't done themselves any favours by painting these things in as black, which makes them look a lot more excessive. But if they actually picked a colour that matched the roof tiles, then you would find it wouldn't be that. I mean, I wouldn't object to this one. I think there's plenty of room on that roof. They're not going to affect any of the adjacent neighbours. It's still a bungalow, even though it's got.
Well, they've gone up in the roof, so it's sort of like, in my mind, they've made it a house, so, and they've done that already. So, I mean, I'm not commenting on that, it's just that it's going to be changing that street scene an awful lot. Margaret and then Lamorna, I think.
Yeah, so for me, it's changing the street scene, and the one further down has done it on there. I'm interested because I found it really difficult to see what are they going from, a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom to 6 bedrooms, or it was really difficult for me to try and see what they were doing.
Okay.
So you've got 1 bedroom.
And then one bedroom, is it downstairs and then 2 upstairs already, or 3 upstairs?
Yeah, so 3 bedrooms, one on the ground floor.
Just making it
2
bigger.
upstairs. And the proposal will see an additional one as well, so you have.
And the loss of 1 downstairs, isn't it? So it still stays, I think, the same. But then.
There's 2.
Oh no, they have to go 2.
Bedrooms, 3, 4, so it becomes a 5 bedroom.
5, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is pretty massive. I mean, for me, it's the scale of it as well. It's huge, isn't it? Regardless of the colour of the tile, the building is still big.
Increased massing of it.
Yeah,
It does
yeah.
make it a lot bigger, isn't it?
And it will, you know, set a precedent then for the street scene, to be honest.
Yeah. Lamorna, did you want to say something as well?
I sort of agreed with Joanna, really, that I think they haven't done themselves any favour with the actual colour, and that it would look a lot better with that. And regarding the number of bedrooms, well, I don't think we can object on that ground.
No, not the number of bedrooms, but is that increase in mass of that is quite a lot, isn't it? That the impact on the front of the house there, I think, is quite impactful. Actually, I mean, looking at this, I don't understand why have they put in a shadow here when it's flush. Anyway, we won't dwell on that. Anybody else want to say anything? Yeah, Karen?
I just think, like, I agree with you in the sense that it's just too big. Is there anything that we can suggest that?
Well, we don't
suggest.
suggest. No, don't suggest stuff.
No.
Don't suggest. It's not
Just
our problem.
smaller, you know.
So,
I'm happy to propose an objection
okay.
on the mass, the scale, the changing of the street scene.
And setting a precedent, isn't it?
Yes,
Really, from
yeah.
the front of the buildings.
I'll second that.
Second that, and okay. So voting on that objection, and then not objection, abstaining. What?
I'm objecting to
Yeah,
your
objection. Yeah.
I would just say that you should.
This is democracy.
Yeah. No, that's right. I was just trying to work what you're going to be.
I would just say that abstention is really reserved for if you don't feel you're in a position to make
I was
a
just-
decision. I see far too many people abstaining in this room. You've got the same information as everybody else. You either support it or object it, to be honest. Here endeth the lesson.
I just have a quick question, which I can give you some time.
There were no comments from neighbours for this one.
We'll come back as a 5-day protocol if the planning officer doesn't show when they're. Yeah. Okay, Duncan? 1, 2, 5-2, yeah. Okay, wonderful. Yeah.
We're basically the impact on this.
Yeah. Can actually, sorry, Duncan, can you just drive round the corner a minute? Is there, drive round the corner? Actually, no, they have got parking. They have got parking in there. I was just going to say if that was going to be created as well, but no, it's already there. They've got a boat in there. Yeah. Yes. Right. Application 7, PA 26/02354, 4 Lawarne Crescent. Variation condition 2, dated from 24 Yeah, so we brought this up as list 2, even, yeah.
Are the lights doing strange things on my stroke?
No,
I'm
you,
probably having a stroke.
okay. Well,
I'll be fine. Right, where are we? 7.
applicant for this.
No, I'm absolutely...
And friend. I wonder who the friend is as sort of... It's just very funny, isn't it? Mr. and Miss Jack and Summer Stacey and friend. How intriguing. extension which they had before was going to be 2-storey right across, but that's going to be a single-storey extension at the back now. They've retreated it back to a rear dormer, and then putting a large skylight in that over, which is probably their dining room, isn't it? And then they're extending out then the dormer, which is going to be quite large at the front. So we've got that as the street view. However,
this is another one that comes down to the street view.
yeah.
Is that dormer going to be appropriate?
But if you stop, go back, right, stop. Now, I think this house has just, it's just, they've just put a new dormer on it. Not to the same extent, it is smaller, but the precedent is there that the dormer is on opposite, effectively on the front of their house.
Yeah, this is quite old, this is 2016.
Yeah, it's a new one that's gone on. So I drove up around there the other day. So I'm not sure that we can argue on that then, with the dormer then being opposite.
It's sort of nearly out of sync with the property it
Yeah.
is up to, though, isn't it?
Yeah. And it does look like the shed, just like a shed, because they've got it as wooden cladding on the drawing, like a shed stuck on the front of their roof. I'm not sure about, yeah, I mean, it's like that.
In terms of logistics for because having gone through this with only half a dormer on one side, you actually lose a lot of space where you haven't got a dormer on the other. So when you have two dormers facing each other or backing onto each other, it creates a lot of extra space. I quite like my crawl space, but it's...
Effectively, oh gosh, which way's the back? This is the back, isn't it? So that's the back, and then the extension would come out. Yeah, so here the dormer would have come out all the way out on top of that.
And that was in the rear, was it?
And that has the view, as opposed to they're putting the dormer on the other side. But I think it's going to be mostly. Is it bathroom?
Am I correct in saying, did we note that they said that they've got a problem with building it? That was the reason that they changed it. When we sat down and looked at these, I mean, the reason isn't necessarily unexpectedly high quotes for the construction. So that's the reason for it. It's a financially driven amendment.
Our problem, is it?
No, but that's just, sometimes it's useful to know to know where they're coming from.
But in truth, it'll be the same, because they're putting what they had at the front, at the back. One's at the front, one's at the back, so it's still the same.
Yeah, and trying
size.
to make roofs watertight again afterwards when you've made a large hole in it. I mean, it's always going to be difficult, isn't it? Again, but that's not our issue. So where are we heading on this, folks? What are we thinking?
No objection, I think.
On the basis that it is setting a precedent in the area, but it's not too destructive.
Karen?
Well, I don't think it's in keeping with the other, even though there is a small one opposite. I think it's the street scene that's the same problem.
It's a smaller one. It is actually still quite large. It's not subtle. So I think I don't think we're going to get anywhere actually if objection to it. I personally I don't particularly like it, and
I wouldn't call it minor.
No, it's not minor at all, isn't it? It is a big change on this. So is somebody going to make a proposal on that? Joanna, you're going to propose no objection?
Propose no objection, and it's not a full-on support because it is setting a precedent in an area that doesn't have many of these.
I mean, it is creating a new view from that side of the road. There aren't these dormers on that side of the road, just because there is one on the other side.
For me, the next house to it is totally left on its own.
There's the other dormer there.
No, that's two, and then the one opposite has one as well.
So it's not really a precedent.
No. So, seconder for no objection.
Yep.
Yeah, Sandy Fly, and no objection. Yeah. Yeah, and 2 objections. Okay. Objecting to the objecting. Yeah. Right. No, not two. No objections. Yeah, 2 objections. Yeah. Sorry, Joanna.
They describe it as a minor material. That's what I said.
It's not minor.
Yeah.
That's a contradiction in terms.
Yeah.
It's either a minor amendment or it's a material amendment.
Right, application 8, PA 26//02094, Porth Beach, Hotel Alexandra Road. Proposed new private access terrace enhancements. I noticed that because this was originally 2 applications, wasn't it? Or is this the one that's below? They repeated it, didn't they?
Yeah, I'll get on to that.
For the two, yeah, they didn't separate them.
I think, unpicking this, I think what happened was that you've got 2 applications. One is a planning permission and one is an advertising consent. And I think that they've gone in on the same application form. I think the planning portal provides a form that accommodates both. And then poor old Javier has had to kind of unpick them into 2 separate applications. However, we will be looking at largely, well, it's one set of documents, so we will be looking at just the one. We're going to look at the planning permission first, just to make sure that we're all aware. Porth Beach Hotel, plonk ourselves down there. Sorry, Porth Beach. It's there we go. Alexandra Road, there. Lovely. There are several elements to the planning application. They're creating, you'll see that there's one vehicular access already. They're going to create a second one. This part of the building here is actually the manager's accommodation, the owner's private accommodation. They want to create, and you'll see a car is parked outside that accommodation. They want to create another vehicular access basically across here. You'll see on the plans in a minute. So that's one element of the application. The other relates to this terrace decking, which they are going to bring forward. And effectively, where you've got this entrance and a new one here, this decking coming forward will separate the 2. Okay. They're saying about the installation of new slatted timber effect screening. That's basically just goes around the new decking just to screen it from the road, from the highway. And then we've got new signage and branding. That is covered by the next application that we look at. So really there's 3 elements to this one. So as we're told, the site of the hotel incorporates the owner's private accommodation. At present, access to this accommodation is shared with the commercial entrance and parking area. We'll have a look at the ground floor site plan that they've got. I think that's that one here. And this one shows you that that single entrance and the owner's parking. This is the more interesting one, obviously, because what you have here, you've got the existing entrance, and then you've got a new access and drop curb that goes straight into the front of the owner's accommodation. I mentioned to you the terrace, and as you'll see, you've got the existing curved terrace, and then they are adding another element to that. It will sit below.
It's a weird shape.
It is an unusual shape, yeah. But it sits sort of like a level below the existing, and when they refer to the screening, the slatted screening, they are talking about wrapping that around here, 1.1 metre screening going around this element of the terrace. The proposed site plan, bear with me for a moment. Let's have a look at the elevations.
Something I have concern with actually with the well, I do have concern with the separate access, that half of the property can be then sold off as a separate dwelling and it has its own access.
It's a separate dwelling.
It is a separate dwelling,
Yeah.
but it's part of the same property at the moment, but it would be sold off separately. No, but I have these concern of all these steps up here for disability and open access for this is their main entrance into their property as for the hotel as well. But you know, if you're doing something new, then I think sort of like disability should be accounted for, rather than perpetuating steps and things which are already there at the moment, as opposed to having, you know, disabled people, you happen to be in a wheelchair, oh, you have to go round the back.
If they have it as a level lower, isn't it not going to be easier?
Well, I don't know, but with the new extension coming out, they had more steps going up into that and the steps here. And I think it's very sad this day and age, if you're developing something new for your business, that you're forcing somebody who might be with a pushchair, a wheelchair, that, oh, you go round the back. It's not great in this day and age. I think, though, I do have concern. Do we have anything from Highways on this, Duncan, on terms of?
No, we've got no comments. I'll return to that. I'll return to that front elevation. So you've got your new access and drop curb. Obviously, that takes you across the grass verge and the footpath. And then you can just about. It's not desperately easy to see, but you can just about see that that new bit of terrace that they are adding on. I mean, effectively, that's the meat and potatoes of this part of the application.
Margaret?
So by doing that decking curve, they're reducing the access. They probably park sometimes in that space where the second bit of terracing is. The bedrooms are...
They don't. They park, let me just show you. They come around to here.
We don't know that.
We do know that. They make a point of saying that in the application.
But looking at it, that's quite a wide entrance. They could park a car up there if they had more cars than they did, you know. That's what I'm saying. They are reducing what they've already got in a level area to park. So looking at that road where they want to...
As part of the application, you say that existing parking arrangements won't be affected. Okay. Yeah, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying that's what that's what they would say in response to.
Yeah, and also that's a fairly main road. It's on a hill where they either want to turn in or come out, whereas at the moment they have one entrance, quite a wide entrance. Yes.
Well, going to that single parking place, I mean, they'd have to either back out or back in. There's no turning space, is there? I don't think so.
Correct.
I think, I think we got concerned with that. You see, I don't particularly want to lose the verge and have another turning onto what's already quite a dangerous road and hill with that at the moment. And yeah, I don't, yeah. Because, I mean, at the moment, they've got the glass balustrade there, which makes it quite transparent things. And putting a wood one there, I don't think there's, well, I mean, they've got timber there, isn't it? It's just an aesthetic thing. But I have concerns about access. If they've given anything about water runoff and things, I mean, it's already an impermeable surface, but I don't think so. No. What's with the roof plan thing? It's got existing roof plan and then proposed roof plan. What's No, it's just with that bit at the front, isn't it?
Yeah,
Nothing
so
else changes.
that's your existing. That's
Yeah.
your proposed. So they're not adding it. They're
It
not
just
adding
looks
anything
very,
to the roof.
it looks very odd. I mean, I do have that concern about that they haven't got enough turn really to drive in that and reverse out, I don't think. Yeah, Karen?
Where the private accommodation is, so presumably at the moment they drive in and then when they want to leave, they reverse round.
Yeah, on their
and
own.
go-
Yeah, they've got.
And go forward.
Sorry.
Yeah, they've got enough room on here to come round here
reverse
to
round
go
and go,
to
yeah.
drive out.
But if they have a separate entrance into their own parking space,
Yeah.
they'll have to reverse
Yeah,
onto the road.
there's no turning
Turning space,
circle.
yeah.
We'll certainly mention that.
So what are we thinking on this then?
Object.
Yeah, going to object on that? Yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy to propose objection on this.
Can I just be said? I will include your mention about the access, but it's the two access points. Sorry, when I say saying access, the stepped entrance, but
Yeah.
it's the concern about the two vehicular access points.
So, but
that's what we're basically
yeah,
objecting.
yeah, I do, but yeah, concerns with the, with the new development and it being stepped for a commercial property, I think is against disability legislation on that. Yeah. Because you can get outdoor lifts and things as well, rather than actually shoving everyone around the back. So seconder for objection, yeah, Sandy, that all those objection, and Joanna?
I'm not supporting the objection.
Yeah.
I don't think we've got it.
Yeah, okay. Well, it will come back as 5-day protocol, no doubt, as well. And that's fine. Right, then, so application 9 is still with the same property then, and is PA 26/02663, and that's to do with the internally illuminated signs and their advertising thing there at the moment. So I presume they're changing from what they've got to something new.
Yeah, I mean, this seemed to be quite straightforward, I thought. Right, so just have a look at the street view. Right, that got blown down. I got in touch with the agent. That got blown down. That was a victim of Storm Goretti. So that's not there anymore. So we're not talking about that. What we are talking about is this signage here. And there's not really much else at the moment. They want to put up two. They want to have two fascia signs and one externally illuminated flat totem sign. So, oh, sorry, the flat totem sign is, sorry, I'm getting confused. That's the one that was a victim of Storm Goretti. Let's have a look at the proposed elevations. Proposed elevations show us the fascia sign across the top, which just says hotel, restaurant, wellness. They are then adding another fascia sign similar to the one that's already in place, and that will go instead on the front of the new bit of decking. So effectively that sign moves forward and comes onto the new bit of terrace. And then the other one is just being added on the side. And that's static internally illuminated sign. So you've basically got a sign at the top, a replacement that's going to go on the front of the terrace, and then the only really new one is this one on the side of the building.
So this is the south side.
Guidelines for these, it's not, I mean, it's difficult to see who's actually going to see it, to be honest, isn't it?
Well, from the other side of the valley when you're driving.
But I mean, the illumination levels that are allowed for these things, to be honest, you're not really going to, it's not really going to be like the Holy Grail kind of thing. Perhaps you would see it from if you were on the beach or something, but...
Joe?
Just to make a point, we've objected to the decking, and now we're being asked to approve the sign going on the decking. Is that a problem?
No, well, I mean, our main approval was for the access and it was steps. So I don't think, in terms of moving it to front, well, oh, I don't know. I mean, this is what we had with the BT thing in town with the...
I can't see how, I mean, there's no...
I've got no problem with this, like signage and stuff. And you know, I think if we put in that it's not, the illumination guidelines are followed, and it's not directly shining into its southerly neighbour. I think if we
we'll seek reassurance that it's not going to impact the neighbour.
Then I don't have a problem with it. I'm proposing no objection on this. Yeah. All those in favour of no objection? I know, yeah.
It's just, it's about the sign being in a place that we've already said no to. Just doesn't, I'm not going to vote.
It's hard, isn't it, when they put, two separate things. Right, okay, terms of reference. We haven't got anything there, have we, Duncan?
Not yet.
No, we've got 12 minutes. No. Working parties. It's going to be. I'm just conscious of the time. Yeah, go for it, Joanna.
Very briefly, the Solomon is still a problem.
Thank you.
And the interesting of the way they're talking about neighbourhood plans is or whether you do a neighbourhood plan that is not all encompassing like ours, but just for specific topics.
It's all a bit woolly at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of like back end of a sheep and woolly. Yeah. Good starting point, isn't it? Brilliant. Thank you, Joanna. Oh, good and succinct. Right. Okay. Financial statement? No.
No purchases, no
No.
payments.
Just the freedom of information requests.
Are we paying for that?
No.
Oh, don't we pay for that? Okay, right, that's fine. Okay, right, okay. No other correspondence? No. Weekly decisions list, flicking through, there's nothing really of note, I don't think, on there, nothing major. no 20-storey, multi-storey car park going in anywhere. Right, date of next meeting then is when...
There are two others on there.
Oh, I haven't got them on the...
Right, the tobacco and vapes bill.
Okay, I don't have that on the IBABs.
Right, okay.
Sorry, Duncan.
No, it's all right. Just going to check it's there. If it's not there, we can't talk about it, can we?
It upsets us.
Because you know, when, yeah, I mean, I'm on IBABs, I struggle with.
And it's not there. All we've got is the weekly decisions. There we go. Oh, there we go.
Cornwall Council list of planning decisions, tobacco and vapes bill. I got a thing through about an hour before this meeting. The Tobacco and Vapes Act 2006 has now received royal assent. Going to be much like licensing legislation in that you will, if you are going to sell, you will need a personal license, and the premises that you are going to sell from will require a premises license. And these will be, when they start to come in, these will be applications that this committee will be looking at. So it's brand new legislation for licensing, and I think everyone will agree that some sort of rules around vapes is well overdue. And then we've already mentioned the parking order update, so that's your lot.
Thank you, Duncan. Right, date of next meeting then is Wednesday the 13th of... No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not.
Yeah, Wednesday,
yes, it is.
Wednesday the 13th.
13th of May. Yeah, yeah.
I think that's kind of slightly subject to them agreeing the new civic calendar, but I don't think there's any doubt about that. G&R were happy with it. So.
Well, and it's not changing until that Christmas, the December one, isn't it? So we finished the meeting.
It's going to be 8 plus 2 subs.
Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Laura.